Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Hi, I am just struggling to get on top of my debt. It feels like every time I get, or I see a light at the end of the tunnel, I'm just, there's something else that piles on top of it. And I would just like some advice on how I can, continue to see the light at the end of the tunnel and just continue to work to try and get on top of my debt.
Okay, so how much debt do you have, Ryan?
So I've got about $20,000 in debt.
Okay, what's that in?
So I would say about $15,000 to $16,000 of that is in credit cards.
Okay.
And then the other, 5 to 6 would probably be just stuck in medical right now.
Medical, okay. And how much are you making a year?
I'm making about $55,000 for my base salary.
Okay.
And then I get paid commission. That would take me to about $65,000 to $70,000.
Okay. So after taxes, how much do you bring in a month?
I'm bringing in about $4,300 a month right now.
$4,300. Okay.
How much margin do you have out of that $4,300 take home? How much margin do you have at the end of a month if you haven't had a disaster or something like that? You stuck to the budget, paid everything. What's that look like?
I really throw everything that I can at my debt. So between my rent and my groceries and paying child support and everything that I've got, I'm really sitting at $100 at the end of the month.
Okay. And are you on a tight budget, Ryan? Like, do you have things written down before the month begins and you stick to it and you're like very, 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 very diligent with your expenses?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just sitting down and going through all of the minimal. Basically, I have everything. I'm following the baby step about, I've got about $2,000 in savings right now.
Okay.
And I'm just throwing everything possible that I can at one debt. Mm-hmm. The thing that's hard for me is I would say one of my biggest expenses right now is my attorney fees. Just because I'm still actively going through
a divorce,
custody of my son and everything, and just throwing money that way.
What were these for, Antonio? What were you racking up this debt for?
Hey, George here with a quick interruption. If something were to happen to you tomorrow, would your family know where to find your life insurance policy, your will, even your Netflix password? Well, Knockbox solves that. It's a kit that organizes your financial accounts, estate plans, and everything your family would need all in one place. That way they don't have to hack into your laptop or locate some long-lost thumb drive. So leave them a legacy, not a scavenger hunt with Knockbox. Ramsey fans get the best discount available at knockbox.com/Ramsey. That's knockbox.com/Ramsey.
How much money are you spending a month on that, would you say?
Last month I just paid him $1,200.
Okay.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure. Is there, do you see an end at all to that? Like, do you have any estimation on when that will be wrapped up?
I'm hoping this year. My ex, she and I were never married.
Okay.
So it's just been, luckily I haven't had to deal with the divorce side of it, just battling for custody.
I gotcha.
I've been battling.
Okay, just the custody side. Okay.
He was born, yeah.
Okay. And how old, is it a son? Is that what you said?
Correct.
How old is he?
2.
So this has been going on for 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay. But you're thinking there is a possibility of all this to be wrapped up at the end of this calendar year is what you're thinking?
Correct. Yeah. We should just have one more hearing left.
Okay. Well, that's good. In a sense, from the emotional toll that takes, plus freeing up some of that income, because I think, Ryan, for you right now, because it's not a crazy amount of debt. $20,000. We've had a lot worse, even on today's show. There's been some more bigger numbers. So it's so doable, but I think it's an income issue at this point. Because I'm like, after $5,300, $1,200 of that going to attorney fees. I know it's not every month necessarily like that, but that's a realistic idea of there's a big chunk leaving. It's almost like you have to replace that in order to gain any level of traction, because $100 extra, it's not really going to move the needle much, especially with this credit card. $15,000 in credit card debt, and your interest rate's what, probably 20, 22?
And they're actually relatively low because I've had these credit cards for a while now.
Oh, good.
I was able to stay on top of them.
Okay.
I was doing really, really well about, just paying them off. Only putting, like putting gas and groceries on the credit cards and then just paying them off when I got paid.
You said that you've been throwing everything you can at the debt so far. How much? Just give us maybe a 3-month average to the best of your memory, or if you know it clearly. What is the amount you've been putting above all of your bills towards the extra? What is that extra amount you've been putting towards debt every month?
So I've got an American Express card that I just do the minimum payment, which right now is about, $250. I've got a Capital One that's about the same, $250. My Visa is pretty low, but my Visa, other than my attorney fees, is the lowest amount. So I'm throwing probably $500 towards that.
In addition, is my question. I'm not talking your minimums. I'm saying, are you?
Okay.
I thought you had said that you're throwing. I'm trying to get an idea here because
Sure.
I'm going somewhere with this. How much extra beyond your minimums are you putting towards debt every month?
Probably 300
Okay.
right now, as much as I can.
And how often in the last 5-6 months have you gotten a big attorney bill?
It's almost been every single month at this point.
And what would you say the average has been? Has it been in that $1,200 range?
$1,000 to $1,200. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So good news, bad news. Bad news is you're still in this fight, and I don't know if that's going to continue, but that is a massive chunk that if you didn't have that legal situation, now I'm going to add that. I'm going to say, let's be modest and say $1,000 plus the $300 in addition you've been putting already. That's $1,300 a month. To Rachel's point, I'm trying to encourage you here and then give you something tactical. We can pay $20,000. We'll pay the 5 to 6 off really quick in medical, and the $20,000 in credit card, or excuse me, $16,000 in credit card. We can pay that off really quick. So you asked the question, how do I see the light at the end of the tunnel? And I think you got to just hang in there to go. Once we get past the custody fight, the light is shining bright because you're going to be able to put $1,300 a month towards, let's call it 21,000 change in debt, correct?
Correct.
That's going to go pretty quick. Now, what do we do in the interim? My question is, what can you do professionally? What skill set and experience do you have that could potentially make you an additional $1,000 to $2,000 a month? You may not be able to do it, but I want you to at least ask the question and go, where could I do this? Can I make an additional $1,000 to $2,000 a month so that we can make some progress while we're in this fight? That would be my goal,
Yeah,
Rachel,
for sure.
if I were him.
Yeah, I mean, if you just looked at this of like, everything's on fire. I am doing anything and everything. It doesn't matter, hour of the day. And it's just kind of this like scorched earth feeling. And what's crazy, Ryan, is if you even just threw, $2,000, you're done with this in November. You know what I mean? December, January-ish.
No question.
But I'm like, it can happen so fast. The snowball effect can take, so it can start going in that momentum so fast, but it's the income side that's going to do it. And so that's kind of the lever you have to pull, and you're exhausted. I'm like, you're fighting custody, you're working full time, but I would up this $70,000 a year.
I agree.
With some extra stuff that you can do. Again, even an extra $1,000 a month, bringing something in, $1,200, $1,300, anything extra, Ryan, that's going to be your saving grace in this, because it does get down to a math problem.
That's right.
And the income, I don't see many expenses that you can cut from what you've told
That's
me.
right.
So I think it is just earning that extra income, and it's for a short period of time.
That's right.
But then it's all done, and cut up the credit cards, Ryan, like today. Like get them out after we're done with this and be done with it, because the temptation is to go back to those and you're going to go deeper in the hole. So just cut those out of your life completely.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.